How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to learn English with Anna, Christoph, Olaf and Sven from my favourite Disney film, Frozen. Now if you want to sound like a native English speaker but also speak English with confidence, be sure to stay until the end of the video to learn some great phrases and great vocabulary that will really help take your English to the next level. Without further ado, let's get to the video.
So how exactly are you planning to stop this weather?
Oh, I am gonna talk to my sister.
That's your plan? My ice business is riding on you talking to your sister?
Yep.
Exactly is an adverb which shows us that something is no more or no less than a particular number or amount. For example, in this picture, we can see that the weight is exactly 32 kilograms. It isn't 30, it isn't 31, it is exactly 32. No more and no less. In the next clip from the James Bond film Dr. No, listen to when the man uses the phrase exactly 3 hours and 22 minutes. Here he wants to be as detailed as possible and not give an approximate amount of time.
Has he found out anything? Anything important?
You'd better ask him. You're booked on the 7 o'clock plane to Kingston, and that gives you exactly 3 hours, 22 minutes.
Now, exactly is used in a question when we want to emphasize our curiosity or when we want an answer with more detail.
So how exactly are you planning to stop this weather?
He uses exactly here because he wants Anna to explain her approach to the situation with a lot more detail. He wants to know her exact methods.
Oh, I am gonna talk to my sister.
That's your plan? My ice business is riding on you talking to your sister?
Yep.
So I don't think any English video of mine would be complete without looking at some phrasal verbs. And of course, it's phrasal verb time. So to ride on something or to ride on somebody means to depend on something or somebody for success. For example, businesses ride on their customers. In other words, businesses depend on their customers for success. Without customers, there wouldn't be businesses. Remember, if you're talking about something happening at the moment, add ing onto the verb. For example, you could say that in this picture, his future is riding on the interview going well. This is to say that the interview needs to go well or his whole life and future will be affected. Let's have a look at the example once again.
My ice business is riding on you talking to your sister?
Yep.
So you're not at all afraid of her?
Why would I be?
Yeah, I bet she's the nicest, gentlest, warmest person ever.
Afraid is an adjective used to describe the feeling of fear or anxiety. Here we could say that he can't be afraid of heights while cleaning the windows. If we want to use the adjective with a noun, for example, spiders, then we always use the preposition of. This is called a dependent preposition. Now I know it sounds complicated, but it's actually very easy. In English, we have certain adjectives and certain prepositions that always go together. So I have to tell you guys that I'm afraid of spiders. Tell me what you guys are afraid of in the comments down below.
So you're not at all afraid of her?
Why would I be?
Yeah, I bet she's the nicest, gentlest, warmest person ever. Oh, look at that. I've been impaled.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say a massive thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to see daily English tips, why not check out my Instagram where I post useful vocabulary and phrases every single day. Now we need to remember that in English, a superlative adjective is used when we want to show the highest attainable level or degree of something. So when I say the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world, I'm saying that it is number one. There aren't any other buildings that are taller. For adjectives with one syllable, like tall or short, all we need to do to make a superlative adjective is add est onto the end of the verb. For some adjectives, like big, fat, hot, the last consonant needs to be doubled when adding est. An easy way to check if you have to double the last consonant is to use the CVC rule. Now, CVC stands for consonant, vowel, consonant. So with the adjective fat, for example, we have F, which is a consonant, A, which is a vowel, and T, which is a consonant. So in this situation, we have to double the last consonant. One more thing to note is that we don't double the consonant when it's W, X, or Y. So with the adjective new, we don't say newest with two W's, we just say it with one. For adjectives ending in Y, all we need to do is take off the Y and add IEST. For example, rush hour is the busiest time of day in London. Finally, if we have an adjective with two or more syllables that doesn't end in Y, we don't add EST, we just add most onto the front of the adjective. For example, the adjective expensive has three syllables. So we would say the most expensive car in the world is the Bugatti Voiture Noire at $19 million. Here, Olaf uses some awesome superlative adjectives with nicest, gentlest, and warmest. Since nice is a very common adjective, we'll focus a bit more on gentle and warm. So a gentle person is someone who has a mild, kind, or tender temperament or character. If you describe someone as warm, it means that that person is friendly towards other people, respecting them and caring for them. Both of these adjectives have positive meanings.
Yeah, I bet she's the nicest, gentlest, warmest person ever. Oh, look at that. I've been impaled.
Here, Olaf uses a great example of the present perfect. Now, as we know, the present perfect is formed with have and the verb in the past participle form. We use the present perfect to show a relationship between the past and the present. Let's take a look at an example from the 2006 film, The Holiday.
Oh, your house is lovely.
I've lived here 47 years. Back then there were only 6 houses on this block.
Notice here how the male character says, I've lived here for 47 years. It means that the action started in the past and is still true in the present. In other words, the action hasn't finished and he continues to live in that place. We also use the present perfect to emphasize that something happened recently, like in this example from Frozen.
Oh, look at that. I've been impaled.
Remember, if we can see the results in the present and the action started in the past, we can use the present perfect. One thing to remember is that if you want to sound like a native speaker, it's important to use the contractions in English. So by contractions, I mean that we shorten the words down. For example, if we take a look at the present perfect with the sentence, I have lived, we need to make sure that we are contracting the I and the have together so it becomes I've. And the same for the other subject pronouns. For example, you have becomes you've, he has becomes he's, and so on and so forth. Not only will it make you sound more natural, but it will also be easier for you once you practice and get used to using these contractions.
What now?
It's too steep. I've only got one rope and you don't know how to climb mountains.
Says who?
Steep is an adjective that has a couple of meanings depending on how and where you use it. First of all, it means when something has an almost vertical slope or a relatively high gradient. Take a look at the mountain in this video. Here we have an example of something that is very steep. The other meaning of the word steep is used when we're talking about how expensive something is. So if we describe something as steep with a value, it means that it isn't a reasonable price or it's too expensive for what it is. For example, we could say, I wanted to join the gym, but for £100 a month, the price was too steep. In other words, for a gym membership, the price is unreasonable and, in my opinion, too expensive.
What are you doing?
I'm going to see my sister.
You're gonna kill yourself. I wouldn't put my foot there.
You're distracting me.
Or there. How do you know Elsa even wants to see you?
All right, I'm just blocking you out because I gotta concentrate here.
It's phrasal verb time again, guys. And here we go. We have an excellent example of the phrasal verb block out. Now, to block out someone means to ignore someone or to try and stop thinking about them. The thing we have to recognise here is that the phrasal verb block out is a separable phrasal verb. In other words, we can separate the block and the outs and we can stick something in the middle. For example, we could say Jane blocked her boyfriend out when he was shouting. Now, you could also say Jane blocked out her boyfriend when he was shouting, and the meaning is unchanged.
I have friends, remember?
You mean the love experts?
Yes, the love experts.
An expert is someone who is very knowledgeable or skillful in a particular area. Now, this goes to say that after this video, I hope that you guys will feel like experts when using the English language.
Please tell me I'm almost there. Does the air seem a bit thin to you up here?
The adverb almost has the same meaning as nearly, roughly, or not quite. In this example from the film Hacksaw Ridge, when the female character says, "Oh, I almost forgot," it means that she was close to forgetting and she nearly didn't give it to him.
I almost forgot. Here. I want you to have this. It's mine.
Now, I'm not embarrassed to say that Frozen is my favourite Disney film. If you guys would like to see more of these types of videos, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave me your suggestions in the comment section down below. If you want to be part of the TalkSpeak English community, remember to subscribe for more great content that comes out every single week. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you next time.